What's up, everyone? Welcome to the Killshot DraftKings MMA breakdown. We're talking UFC Fight Night 238, and I'm back.
Boo, boo, hiss.
He's back. He's back again. I mean, I missed it. Missed talking about some MMA, a little UFC. Been playing it last couple weeks. But, had my break from NFL, and we're back in the game. And I did not choose the best card to come back for, guys.
It's a good warm-up for next week.
Yeah, I'll accept it. This one's a little bit weird. We got some fights back, though, or some extra fights added that are going to level this thing out. But when this card started, oh my goodness, man, there was a gap in salaries that forced you to play like one or two complete super turds just to make a lineup at all. Where now we've got some extra fights in here. And so I'm kind of excited. I'm kind of excited now to see, but there's some all-in fights. I think there's some very, very clear approaches that we're going to have to do for this one. And let's just jump into it. And I think we'll start top down. Guys. First fight of the night, the main event. Rozenstruik taking on Shamil Gaziev. It's a close fight with Shamil now. Actually, the line's moved a little bit towards Shamil here late. He's minus 183. Yair at plus 158. I don't know about those odds, but more importantly, under 4.5 rounds. Under 1.5 rounds, minus 175. This is effectively an all-in fight, guys. On this card, there's one of two ways this is going down in my mind. One is it's ending fast and it's going to be in the nuts lineup, and that's a super likely one. And then there's this other like big, fat, slow guys end up just like kind of not doing all that much, but I think it ends up in the nuts either way. So let's just start this out. Monk, I'll go over to you, but low volume guys, but this high inside the distance prop. I feel like a big score's coming here.
Yeah, I got to agree here. I mean, first of all, welcome back. Good to have you. It's Yair is kind of like the slightly less exciting, Derek Lewis. Super low volume. All he needs is that one right shot, and it's over. He's done it several times in the UFC. His average bonus points per win is 87.86. If you don't know, you get 90 for a first round finish. So this guy's been putting some boys down for sure. Gaziev a little obviously higher volume, 4.37 DraftKings points per minute. His defense, though, is where we're really looking at. Obviously, this is a one-fight sample size against Martin frickin' Boudet, who's even lower volume than Rozenstruik, but Gaziev didn't allow hardly any points, less than 1 per minute everywhere. He stuffed 2 takedowns in that fight. So really, it's Rozenstruik early for a big score, or it's Gaziev early for a big score, but I think he also has potential to win if the fight does get extended, where I think Rozenstruik's chances go down a little bit. Maybe they cross up and down at some point after the 1.5, if it even goes that far. But yeah, 8,300, 7,900, low salaries. You got to play this fight for sure.
All in fight, sniper. Every lineup. Don't fuck around.
Yeah, yes, but different way to look at this. This is actually, for me, only an all-in fight because of this card. This is not as good of a fight on paper as you guys think. And it's a really straightforward path to this fight not being on the optimal. And we've laid it out. Rozenstruik is not high volume. If he gets a second round win, he scored 83 points, 86 points. That might not be enough if Jairzinho wins in round 2. There's tons of opportunity for the fight to end in round 1. Their salaries, they're definitely on the optimal. But it's not hard to make the case at all for a non-optimal lineup. The problem is I can't even really invest in that this week because the rest of the card, there's not enough. There's not enough dogs, and there's not enough other spots I really like where this is a mid-range fight. Honestly, if this fight was priced where the lines are now with Gaziev at minus 180 and he was 8,900, I could really make a case for not going all in here, but I can't. The way that the fight card is, I'm all about Gaziev in this spot. Look, Rozenstruik can't stop a takedown. Gaziev can get takedowns. I agree with the line movement. Rozenstruik, I think, is a little bit overrated. Clearly one-dimensional. Granted, that one-dimensional is super dangerous, and if he cold cocks Gaziev, I'm not going to be stunned. But unless Gaziev is stupid, he's going to shoot. and this fight is going to be a wrap real early with the big score. So Rozenstruik is live, and again, because I think legitimately I only picked one dog on this card to win, and I only picked one because it's going to end up being my kill shot, and I kind of felt forced to. So just for that reason, Rozenstruik at 7,900 is live.
I've got a dog winner, but I don't know. Listen, Shamil is not that great of a grappler either. I get he's got the name and he's got the beard and it looks like a wrestler. I don't know how much of a wrestler this guy really is. What I do know is, listen, Yair's been in there with the best in the UFC, the absolute best guys. Yes, he's lost to a lot of them, but he's also got some wins against decent opponents. Junior Dos Santos, that's a real win. Augusto Sakai, that's kind of a real win.
2 guys who don't grapple. Chris Dawkins, the third guy who doesn't grapple.
Yeah, but you know what? Is Gaziev that great of a grappler? I'm not.
But you have to be.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. This thing is a little bit closer than it seems. Like I'm not just assuming that Shamil is coming in there turning into Jelton Almeida Part 2 or any of that. I don't know how good of a grappler he is. He can get a takedown. So for me, I think Jairzinho is actually a better striker, and if it stays standing, he's going to knock Gaziev out. So I like this fight, but I'm a little more on the Jairzinho side here. I think he can knock out Shamil if Shamil, gasses, or just if the takedowns don't lead to a finish. Just because Shamil takes him down doesn't mean that's going to finish it. So I think it's a little bit closer than we're talking about, but all in fight, you got to have one of these sides. Just the way the math works out on this card, you're going to have a piece of this one. I do not see it going 5 rounds though.
If it goes past 2, it's going to go 5 and be disgusting.
Yeah, it could get gross. Or, Jairzinho is going to knock him out in like the 3rd round and score an okay like 77 points, and you're going to be like, wow, you got to finish. Didn't really score that great, and that's the risk with Jairzinho is just he's going to throw 2 or 3 strikes per minute. Some of his fight's going to be on his back, and when that knockout happens, if it happens later, it's not going to score well at all. So that's the danger there. But the way the math works out on this card, you almost like too fucking bad. You have to play somebody because they skipped a lot of the mid range here. So mostly all in.
Yeah, the only other thing I do, if this gets extended, I like Gaziev even late. Rozenstruik controls less than 3% of all grappling time he's involved in. So you better hope Gaziev can't take him down.
Yeah.
He's going to lay there at the end of the round.
It's a good live betting fight because if Gaziev can't take him down, or if he gets stuffed a couple times, that's not a bad place to throw a live bet in on Jairzinho. Like, that's where you want to do it. Oh, he stuffed a takedown. Oh, this guy's not, because we don't know until we see it. I feel like I've seen Rozenstruik stuff a takedown before. I feel like I've seen it. All right. Fight number 2 on the card, we got Vitor Petrino taking on Tyson Pedro. Petrino coming in as a minus 300 favorite in this fight. Over 1.5 rounds, minus 145. Under 2.5 rounds, minus 190. So a fight here that's looking like it could finish. And Monk, I know you're not going to be super happy with the metrics on these 2 guys in general.
Oh, I don't know. I think
Petrino, you have to love Petrino.
Yeah, they're DraftKings. I was going to say this is like kind of a must-play fight in my opinion as well.
Really?
Oh yeah, Petrino's the cheapest He's the 5th cheapest dog on this entire card at 9K. Something we have to keep in mind. Like I believe you said, there's only 4 8K salaries this week. It's a real ripoff. So 9K all of a sudden becomes cheap. Petrino, I was
thinking about the strikes per minute, but I'm seeing, the takedowns make up for it.
Takedowns and finishes overall. I mean, Petrino against the worst nickname in the UFC of all time. The Pleasure Man scored 116 in his debut, scored 104 against Pacquiao, and 93 against Bukauskas. Meanwhile, we know what Pedro's going to do. It's round 1 or bust for Tyson Pedro. So you got to have some of that round 1 upside. You're going to be sitting on the sidelines watching a 7,200 guy make the optimal lineup. So Petrino, 4.84 points per minute. I mean, Pedro's almost at 3. Neither guy allows 3 points a minute, but the scores when they win are gigantic, 104 and 106 for Petrino and Pedro respectively. I love this fight. I lean Petrino, but for the pick, and I did pick him for the website for DFS Army, but I think you cannot pass the upside of a round 1 Tyson Pedro finish. You just can't. That's insane.
I like it. Let's see here. Tyson round. Let's see. Tyson inside the distance. Plus 350. Okay. I'll allow it. What do you think, Sniper?
This is one of those, if you've listened to me break down fights on these guys, I've always been high on Petrino and low on Pedro. So there's no way I'm not picking Petrino. I've been riding the train since he beat the Pleasure Man, the best nickname in MMA, and Prachnio and Bukauskas. I don't see, he's got a win over Rodolfo Bellato, which is not nothing. A guy named Gazamurad and Tigalov, whose name you recognize. He beat him in UAE. Although that guy's really kind of fallen off since his UFC run. That being said, Petrino moves forward. He's aggressive. He's willing to strike. And all of a sudden, he got to the UFC and he could wrestle. And you were like, what the fuck is happening here? He reminds me of the guy we're going to talk about later in Matt Schnell and Royval from last week. He's just going to go forward recklessly because he doesn't give a fuck if he gets taken down. Zero fucks given. And he ends up in the clinch and he's stronger than these guys and goes down. I will say to Monk's point, actually, where I see Pedro can win this fight is if he catches some kind of fluky submission, being a guillotine on a sloppy takedown, or wrapping up something like that. But I think it's a minimal outcome. I got other dogs I'm going to pick from. Monk may like Pedro, and I'm not going to full fade him, but I like Petrino. More active, more power, can wrestle, more upside. He's my guy.
Yeah, I have no faith in Tyson Pedro at all. This guy has just he's lost to terrible guys. He lost to Modestas Bukauskas, who Petrino destroyed. So, basically Tyson Pedro to me is pretty scrubby. Worse in recent times. Like, this is a guy who hasn't gotten better since his debut. He got worse. Yeah, I think the Petrino side is the spot here for sure. Not too much to say about it. A fight to have heavy exposure to, especially considering Petrino at 9K is like a bargain on this card. He's like on the cheaper side of the favorites. And I'm not really sure of any of these more expensive favorites. None of them are screaming, oh my gosh, I'm going to score massive. So for that reason, that one works. All right. Next up, we've got Muhammad Makayev taking on Alex, probably going to drop out of the fight, Perez. We'll see if it happens. Muhammad is a minus 350 favorite. Fight ends inside the distance, minus 155. So this one looks like it might be slated to, it's one of the higher decision props on this particular card. Anyway, Monk, I was a big fan of Alex Perez when he was like healthy and able to fight. But take a look at this, man. This guy,
his losses, his wins have aged terribly. Go look at his wins. None of them have aged well at all.
No, I mean, Jussier Formiga is a good win.
2020 Jussier Formiga, that was the problem.
That was his best one.
This is what I wrote in the notes was, since the Jussier Formiga win in 2020, June 2020, he's lost 2 fights and he's had 12 cancellations. 12. It's absolutely insane. He hasn't had a win since that Formiga fight.
But hold up.
2020.
Hold up.
Wild.
The 2 losses are against Pantoja and Figueiredo. Like, those are really, really respectable opponents. He hasn't lost,
but he wasn't even competitive.
He got smashed in less than 2 minutes in each
he
fight.
Did get crushed. He did get crushed.
Like, you could say that if he made it a fight, kind of lost a decision or got he got steamrolled.
That is fair.
It was bad.
And I don't know what the story is with all these canceled bouts. What the hell's the problem with this guy?
A couple of them are actually
4 of them are Matt Schnell.
Yeah, a couple of
2
them.
of them are Askarov.
Yeah. Like, it wasn't always Perez's fault in his defense. Like, I know Schnell pulled out once. I know Askarov pulled out once.
He missed weight.
So some of this was just like bad luck.
Yeah. Kai Kara France was Kai pulling out of that fight. I don't know about Cop.
All right, there it is. So that's more fair. And you know what? I appreciate that. So I like Alexander Perez. Been a fan. By the way, and on the flip side, Muhammad Makayev, man, he's been a massive favorite in all these fights. I feel like they've been pretty close fights, all of them. Kind of think Elliott was beating him in that fight before he got that submit. Like, if you played Makayev pretty much in the last couple of fights, you were a little nervous. And you were nervous about your DraftKings score. I think. Let's see what he's been putting up here. Hold on. Yeah, he did score well in the end. Yeah, he did. Yeah, not much action, but ends up scoring decent in the end. Probably not good enough though for his salary. So he's been 97, 96. He's getting you like 100. I don't know, Monk. What do you say?
No, the last two have been less than ideal. Sorry, I thought I was muted there for half a second. 96, 97, like you said, didn't make the optimal. But in his defense, he was 96 and 95 for Gordon and Johnson, and he scored 120 on average and made optimal on both of those, and against Cody Durden, who's probably aged the best aged win. It's probably not really arguable at this point. It was Cody Durden. Yeah, Alex Perez, look, maybe it's because I am desperately searching for some balance, so I need a dog. But I was kind of thinking, again, if this fight happens, huge if, well, Perez could be okay. Like, I'm a huge Makayev fan, gigantic. I mean, especially for DraftKings. I already said 3 optimals in 5 fights, 5 points a minute, 114 points on average per win, and that's with one of them being less than 100. So, yeah, I'm a gigantic Makayev fan. I'm rooting hard for this kid. But Perez, when he performs and performs well, his numbers are almost the same. 4.68 a minute over his last 5, 106.64 per win when he did find a win over those last 5. I'm trying to pull up the career. Yeah, 106.82 per win in his career and 4.7 points a minute. So when he's performing, I know Sniper just said it's like Mark De La Rosa and I don't even know who else. Formiga or Espinosa, Eric Shelton. There's no
Torres was a hyped guy.
Really competition, but when he's looked good. And the only thing I will say is Makayev has come out on top, scored extremely well. The stats say he's winning the fights pretty dominantly, but we have seen moments of lapse. So I'm not really thinking Perez can find it, but if he can, I think he's an okay punt play at 71. But geez, man, does this fight even happen? And I don't know. And I don't think you can beat. I don't think Perez has beaten Makayev, but he's a decent punt play for GPP.
For what it's worth, too, I believe that
he's going to have no ownership.
Makayev is 23 years old. He's doing all that. Everybody's giving him shit. He's 21 years old fighting the UFC as a giant prospect. The kid's just going to keep getting better and better. I think this is classic. Guy in the upswing, guy in the downswing. If fight happens, and I kind of do think it does, I think this is going to be, this is a perfect fight for Makayev. The UFC knows what they're doing in terms of building stars. This just seems like the perfect fight for him. I get the logic behind Perez. I don't think I can quite pull the trigger. I think this is the spot I'm actually going to shy away from, because if Perez wins, does he even score well? Unless he gets a flash KO, which I don't know. I can't quite see it. So I'm gonna go on the Makayev side, pretty heavy. I know I've done that a few times. I do have a couple dogs that I think are worth a shot, and they're all cheaper than Tyson Pedro and Alex Perez. There are 3 guys down there I'm willing to take some shots on, which is bananas. You're going to have to, and just pick your poison this week. And for me, I get the feeling Pedro and Perez are going to be the most popular of those bottom 5, and that just makes me want to not play them.
I mean, that's fair. I think Perez could win. Anytime you have a guy like Makayev who doesn't really throw a lot of strikes, there's that danger. I think we saw a fight, I don't know if it was last week, a couple weeks ago, where we got a ton of takedowns, but didn't land many strikes, and they gave the decision to the opponent. So you never really know.
Last week was stupid. The anti-grappling bias in MMA has gone way too fucking far.
That's what I'm saying. But are we going to deny it, or are we going to sit here and say, hey, this kid is just a grappler. He doesn't throw strikes. He barely throws in his fights. I mean, Monk, dude landed 14 strikes, 16 strikes in a fight, 12. 2. I mean, these are decisions.
Yeah, I'd like to see more ground and pound, to be honest. If you have the type of control time that Makayev has,
significant strikks. Go over to the right to his strikes.
I mean, yeah, he's landing the little love taps, but
I mean, the non-significance add up huge. That's how Mackenzie Dern scored all those points.
Old school DraftKings scoring. Old school DraftKings scoring, he'd be a dumpster fire, and we'd all be hating Makayev.
Yeah.
Well, when they didn't count those at all. Yeah. So I mean,
I'd like to see more of that.
Yeah, I could lose, but I think in the end of the day, and it is noteworthy that Perez has acceptably good takedown defense on his career. Not great, but like 77% is not bad. So I don't know. I feel like if they keep it standing, I think Perez will be the better striker if it's standing. But Perez is completely untrustworthy. What do you guys think? Like maybe they're not. There's no more USADA now, right? So we could take the roids. No restriction.
It is the
Correct.
Wild West.
Are these guys roided out? Like what's going on?
You haven't really seen anybody crazy yet. Like I thought Paulo Costa was going to look insane, and he hasn't yet. So I don't really know. It's like something to monitor.
Got to bring back.
I haven't really noticed anything honestly, but maybe I mean,
if no one's testing them, they're definitely going to be taking roids.
I hope they will be.
Fuck yeah, they're going to. Vitor Belfort's making a comeback right now. He's getting ready.
Get USADA's just holding us back, bro.
I mean, I'm not trying to say anything, but like, yeah,
I'm not trying to say anything, but I'm gonna.
That's not going to make it so easy to cap these fights. Like, guys are going to just show up looking completely different than they
You
ever
got to watch their cam. You got to pay attention to the camps then.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean,
focus on your Brazilian fighters. Look there first.
Brazilian, everybody's going to be taking the roids. Are you kidding me? Like, if you there's the restriction.
Yeah, but Brazilians are generally more.
Yeah,
they throw all cares. Exactly. Yeah, the best vitamins.
The best vitamins. It's just vitamins and horse meat.
Let me tell you, your bros in college took steroids just so they could look ripped for the ladies. Okay, these guys are making money doing it. Like, every idiot I knew was taking injections or pills just to be ripped. Okay, this is fucking fights. They're athletes with no testing. I don't know that that's true. I don't even know that like there's not some other testing going on. But if that's the case, man, it's gonna be a little scary trying to figure out who's doing what or how they change from fight to fight. But with that being said, next up we've got Umar Nurmagomedov taking on Best Cat. Whatever.
Almacan.
I probably should have looked that up before the show. Here, Umar's a massive minus 1,200 favorite. He's going to win the fight. This guy, Bexit, not a bad fighter, but I mean, you don't want to go up against the Nurmagomedov in your UFC debut. Monk, is there any reason to even consider this one? The prop here to go to decision is, I think, inside minus 170 inside the distance. Looks like about 2.5 rounds on the prop.
Yeah, I don't know. I think even though Umar, 9,700, most expensive fighter on the card, I personally thought he was going to be our first minus 10,000 fighter ever. So I think we're getting a bargain here. I'll definitely be playing him. I'm not going to it's not an all-in fight by any means, but I'm definitely going to have a lot of him in cash and a lot of him in GPPs. I mean, the guy is probably the best DraftKings overall scorer when you add in the defensive side of things that we have on the entire card. I mean, he's scoring just under Makayev by a 1/100th of a point per minute at 4.96, but his defense is spectacular. He allows 0.6 points per minute overall, 0.5 at distance, and 0.1 points per minute inside the distance, scoring 109 so far on average. All of his wins over 100 points. So yeah, he has a statistically very good chance of scoring triple digits against a guy that nobody's ever heard of. And the first clip we see from him is him fighting on what appears to be AstroTurf. Also, I need to dive in more, but Jay Petrie from SureDog put something on today. Maybe you can explain. I kind of went over it right before. No, I won't even get into it. You go ahead. He something about the record, so I'll let Sniper talk about that. But yeah. I mean, I'm an Umar fanboy. I love this guy. Everybody's like, oh, is he going to get a title shot of fighting nobody? Nobody will fight this guy. They had to bring in some dude who fights on AstroTurf to fight him. So I think he's good at 97.
Corey Sandhagen will fight him.
That's going to be great. That's going to be a great fight.
Because Nurmagomedov pulled out of that fight. It wasn't Corey. It was not Corey. And Corey, I think, said if he doesn't get a title shot next and Umar looks good, give me Umar again. So I would love that fight.
Good. I love Corey too.
The background on Bekzat, by the way, is do you remember it might have been last year at this point, we had that Ukrainian guy who
Askar Mozarov. Shout out to Alonzo Minifield.
He was fight week, he was like 14-1, 14-0. And then he was like 11-0, and then 8, and like they started discounting wins. Same kind of thing here, being accused of record padding and adding bouts that are not mixed martial arts contests into his official record. I'll be interested to see what they announce him as. Either way, he's in the UFC. Actually doesn't look terrible. The tape I watched.
5 of his wins came against opponents whose records are NA.
Yeah. It's some other form of fighting, starts with a Z. I don't know. I don't remember what he called it, but
so
he's now 14-1, where he was 17-1 at the beginning of the week.
Zepzak.
Yeah.
So, but when you watch his mixed martial arts fights, because the recent ones you can find, I mean, he wasn't always in nothing promotions. You know, I went back and you watched the tape of him in God, now I have to look real quick. I'm gonna sound stupid. It was UAE. It was Octagon's what I was thinking of, but he did have a UAE fight in there. Like, it's not nobody. He's beaten a 14-1 Moro Mastro Marini, like guys who UAE is a decent promotion. So yeah, he started off crushing cans, but he's got some decent wins in there. Looks okay. It's just a matter of how good Umar is. I actually think this guy is going to win some fights in the UFC, just not here. I agree with Monk. I want to play Umar. I think there's going to be a ton of grappling in this fight on both sides. If this kid is as good as I think, maybe even in a scenario where all the favorites win, he might make the optimal. If he scores 25 points and everybody else crushes, I mean, we've seen it before plenty of times. I don't think I would stack the fight. I wouldn't go quite that far. It's one of those, I'll probably be overweight to both sides. I'm going to get a ton of Umar in because he's better than all the other 9K guys, the high 9K guys, I should say. And Amakan's in a style of fight that I like him more than I like Zahabi and Pickett. So here we are. I got to play both guys.
Yeah, I mean, on this card, it's fair. Again, there is an additional fighter now. You don't have to be as intense with as many punts, but that'd be the only reason to play.
Don't consider AJ Cunningham. Don't.
No, not him. But the only reason to play, I like the other kid that came in, but
Sopai.
Yeah.
Yeah, but he's 7,600. It's 1,000 more than.
Yeah, it's not enough.
Yeah.
You still need one turd, but you don't need 2 of them now. Before, like initially, you needed 2 of them, and now you only need 1. And so it does change it up a little bit. I'd rather try to find a winner. This kid isn't winning this fight. Fuck that. Okay. Steve Erceg taking on Matt Schnell. Erceg minus 435. Man, that's big. That's a big number. Taking on Matt Schnell plus 335. Let's take a look at the inside the distance props here. Under 1.5 rounds plus 100. Under 2.5 rounds minus 185. Fight ends inside the distance minus 240. So Monk, Erceg coming off a bunch of wins. Everybody loves Erceg now. But, he's not exactly beating world beaters here. He's beating a bunch of scrubs. So I think Matt Schnell is a bit better than who he's fought before, but everybody loves Erceg here.
Yeah, I'm picking Erceg to win, but I don't understand all these inside the distance numbers. It's basically just because of, obviously Schnell has been finished 6 times as a pro, twice in his last 2 losses, but Erceg has shown next to no finishing ability in the UFC so far. He felt, like you said, 2 okay guys. David Dvorak, he went to decision, outstruck him by 1 strike, 3 takedowns to 1, but only 10% control time. Wins the fight, scores less than 70 points. Probably makes the optimal, though. He was 6,800. Then he fights Alessandro Costa, another 3-round decision, scores less than 88 points, lands 74 strikes, 43% control time, and there's no finish there. So we're now paying 9,200. So we started at 68, we went up to 86, and now we're paying 9,200 because we think Erceg's going to finish Schnell. I don't buy it. Of course, it could happen. But honestly, I think Erceg does win, but I think it's by decision. And so I'm going to be a little lower. I was really surprised to hear, not that people are picking Erceg to win, but that people are picking him to win inside the distance at such a high rate. Plus 100 on under 1.5. Are you kidding me? That is that's crazy. So I might be wrong. We might see an Erceg finish here, but nothing that he's shown us so far against lesser competition, in my opinion, has led me to believe that he's gonna score a shitload of points in a win here. So I really don't get it. And I get Schnell is a decent punt, in my opinion. He's a veteran. He's got a ton of UFC fights. And Ursug's got 2. He's only got 12. How many fights does Schnell have in the UFC? He's got 12 UFC fights. Ursug has 12 fights total. So I'm not counting Schnell out. He's a veteran, fought a ton of people in division and gotten some big wins. Don't forget the Sumadarji comeback that was absolutely fight of the year candidate. Like Ursug by decision here, but I'm not counting Schnell out by any means. Don't be under on Astro Boy.
Yeah, look, I can explain the logic to you, and then I'm going to do a hard 180. It's not about Ursug. It's about Schnell being kill or be killed because he's got like those. I think it's 11 UFC fights. One's the Ultimate Fighter finale. Oh no, Ultimate Fighter finale counts. I think there's 7 or 8 finishes in there, and it's all because he's kill or be killed. Rob Font finished him. Hector Sandoval finished him. Pantoja finished him. Roy Val finished him. Mateus Nicolau finished him. All those 5 guys are really good, and I like Ursug as a prospect. This is one more kind of show me fight here. Like I get. He went in and he beat Dvorak and he beat Costa. I think all those guys I just rattled off who Schnell is lost to would beat those guys pretty easily. So this is, if you want to, wiki cap it that way. And, the Sumu Darji fight. It's about not Nicolau. It's about Schnell marching forward. So that's the logic there. That being said, Schnell is the guy I alluded to earlier. Schnell is the guy I'm going to pick to win with that UFC experience. The fact that he's a really slick grappler, he's going to move forward and bring the pressure to Ursug. I don't know, Ursug, I don't think he's really had to deal with that. Good wins over Dvorak and Costa. I've rated Schnell a little bit higher than both those guys. I might be a little bit higher than Schnell than most. We also had that there was a narrative going for a while that Schnell's chin is toast, and yeah, he's gotten finished. Nicolau pops hard, like he was in the war with Sumu Darji. Tyson Nam hits like a truck, and Tyson Nam didn't finish him. So I think it's a little overblown. It's about the style. He's willing to march forward and get hit. Could it happen? Sure. But I think in terms of skill level for some of the dogs we have down here, I think by far Schnell is the most skilled of these guys in the low 7Ks. Taking on really what's still an unknown quantity at this point. So give me Matt Schnell to pull an upset here at a good price.
Yeah, I like the call on Schnell here. His weakness is getting knocked out, right? He's a pretty good fighter in there. I think he might be better on the, if you just skill for skill on the feet, I think he might be better than Ursug just as a striker. And we know Schnell is dangerous on the ground. He's a submission grappler. He definitely has a lot of submissions to his credit. So now I think he'll be able to handle himself. I don't think he's going to be submitted like what Ursug did to some like low level Australian scene, regional guys earlier in his career. I like the call on Schnell. I think that is the better DraftKings side. You're forced to take a cheapie on this card. You have to choose someone. And if people are going to choose like Umar's opponent, who's going to be on his ass for most of that fight, or any of these other guys that are really have no chance, I think Schnell's a really good way to punt on a card where you have to punt one. And you might not win it, but a 35-40, it might be enough to get the job done. So I'm interested in him for sure. All right, guys, if you're watching this, make sure to smash that like button. Let us know in the comments who you're picking on these fights, which side you like. Is there an all-in fight that you're seeing for DraftKings that we're missing? A fighter that we didn't mention? Who's your kill shot? Let us know in the comments section below. Smash that like button. Let me know if you like the format as well with the Geek back in the mix. All right. Next up, Eric Anders taking on Jamie Two-Tap Pickett. Anders, a minus 500 favorite. What is going on here? How bad is Jamie Pickett that Eric Anders is a minus 500 favorite against
I can't
him?
believe we have to talk about this. I don't want to talk about this.
Dude, I mean, the only thing, listen, Jamie Pickett stinks. The only question is, can Eric and Monk will know. Can Eric Anders score enough to make it worth rostering him at a sort of an elevated price? Over 1.5 rounds, minus 250. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 135. The odds makers are expecting a low scoring decision. Maybe the low ownership is a reason to play this. What's my reasoning here, Monk?
I mean, in his last win, he smashed up Kyle Daukaus halfway through the fight. 119 points almost.
Crazy.
But before that, Darren Stewart, 81. So it's kind of a bit up and down. So we have to look at what Jamie Pickett allows when he loses. And that is he does lose quite often. 103.5 is what Jamie Pickett gives up on average per loss. The dude scores well under the Lewis line at 1.88 points a minute in his career, not over 2 points at distance, not over 2 points inside the distance, and 65.99. We are not rounding up to 66 for Jamie Pickett. 65.99 is his average DraftKings per win. Eric Anders has not great lines either. I mean, inside the distance, he's looking good, but Pickett actually seems to have that's his one semi-solid point in his game, is he has an 81% UFC takedown defense. I just don't know if Eric Anders is going to, if this goes to decision, this score is going to suck bad, and you're going to have played Eric Anders at either minus 500 or 9,300, and you're going to be quite sad with yourself. But Jamie Pickett's terrible. How is he getting fights? I don't get it. Eric Anders should finish this guy. He's been finished in his last 3 of 4. Give me Eric Anders. I'm not going to go crazy with it, though. I like other 9K spots here, and I'm not playing Pickett.
Sniper, is this like a contrarian play on Eric Anders? What's the reason? He's probably going to be, I don't know, under 15% owned.
That's the only reason I can give it. I can't do it. Fuck it. Fuck this fight. I hate this fight. I don't. Eric Anders knocked out Kyle Dawkins. A stiff win can knock out Kyle Dawkins. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But I don't see how this
fight. Out Jamie Pickett. By the way, Pickett is terrible.
Yeah, but Pickett, at least, like, Pickett is losing. It's, let's see. Let me go back. You're going to force me to talk about this fight, which is just horrendous. All right. Josh Fremd didn't finish him. I mean, that's all I got to say. Josh Fremd didn't finish him.
Dennis Tululin knocks him out.
And
this guy's
Nchukwi didn't finish him, and Fremd didn't finish him. Is Eric Anders more of a finisher than those guys? I just can't do it. I get it. I get the logic to it. Maybe mix them in a little, could be that contrarian way, but I'm all about game theory, and I can't pull the trigger because
I feel like both of these guys are leftover from the COVID era. Like, guys, come on, I get it. We appreciate you being around.
Eric Anders has been around a long time. You'd be surprised. Eric Anders' first UFC fight was on the Contender Series in 2017. And then again in wait, that was Pickett. Sorry, that was Pickett.
No,
I forgot because he had 3 go-arounds. Eric Anders has been around longer than that. Yeah,
he's been around, but
2017.
Anyway, all right. I just mean like crappy fighters the UFC should have dropped, but kept them on board at that during the era of we needed to fight every week and it was hard to travel.
I was at Eric Anders' first UFC fight.
Nice, really.
In Long Island against Rafael Natal, when Natal got hit so hard he stumbled into the cage face first, Chelsea Chandler style. But it wasn't he running away, he got fucking smashed.
I like it.
Back when Eric Anders had aggression.
All right. So I'm seeing a little bit of a difference on the Tapology screen from Fight Odds. So I'm going to stick with Fight Odds for the order here. And next up, we're going to go Ludovic Klein taking on last minute replacement AJ Cunningham. Now, Klein is at minus 900. The inside the distance prop here, minus 230, under 2.5 rounds. Pretty good.
Value.
Now, one thing I did see was a picture of Ludovic Klein looking all kinds of roided up. I'm not sure if that was like a doctored up picture I saw on Twitter / Instagram, but he was looking ripped. He was looking like no USADA's helping him grow into the role here, so to speak. But is it worth paying up for Ludovic?
On paper, absolutely not. I mean, he beat Devontae Smith, scored less than 70, beat Mason Jones 76, beat Ignacio Bahamondes 86 points there, all by decision. I mean, this dude's not finishing anybody. If there is anybody he can finish, though, I'm assuming it's this bum AJ Cunningham, who lost his Dana White Contender Series fight, got knocked out in the second, and yet here we are with an extremely short notice replacement. But yeah, Klein, 2.78 points per minute. Actually, that's his last 5. 2.93 points a minute. I mean, he's just a very low volume, 83.91 points per win. Cunningham, when he did lose, would have allowed 121 to Steven win there. So I don't know what to think, man. Honestly, my heart says I'd rather pay up $100 and play Umar. This is a ridiculous odds line, money line, and salary for Ludovic Klein. But dude, Cunningham could get beat in a minute. I have no idea. I mean, Klein's never shown that, but Cunningham really could suck really, really bad. So I'm not counting out Klein like I want to, and I'll have him in a little bit, but I can't get to a ton of him at 9,600. I just can't.
It's basically the old play him for the 60-second finish.
Yeah.
And then if it's not happening, you're probably screwed. What do you think?
Probably.
I'm higher on Klein than you guys because I'm lower on Cunningham. Cunningham is a mid LFA Fury guy. He's mid on those cards. And now he's going up against Ludovic Klein, who's not bad. Not bad at all. I mean, what was the fight he scored 86 in that you were like poo-pooing a second ago?
He's getting wins. He's winning fights.
Ignacio Bahamondes is good. Yeah, there's just, and so is Mason Jones, legit prospect.
Yeah, he's winning fights against decent guys. I don't shit on Ludovic Klein.
Tell me,
well.
he knocked out Shane Young in the first shot in the first round. I mean, Shane Young's I think is pretty comparable here to AJ Cunningham. Give me Klein. I think he's actually the safest cash game fighter on the card, including
for
Umar.
cash for sure.
I would play him above Umar. I'm going to make that really clear.
In cash.
Yes.
What about in cash? But what about GPPs though? You paying 9,600 for Ludovic Klein? Dude, he was 9,200 against Landwehr, his most expensive, and he lost.
This is where game theory matters. Yeah, but you don't compare Nate the Train to AJ Sucks. It's tough. This is for me where game theory kicks in. Not some of the down. Everyone's thinking the same thing. I'll play Umar. I don't play Ludovic Klein. Ludovic Klein doesn't score shit. I go, okay. So I think there's game theory in getting lineups where, we're saying there's not a ton of dogs, but you get one or two come through. The game theory for me is playing more Klein and playing where you can fit in Klein and Umar. And the rest of your lineup's going to look gross. It's going to be those two guys, main event fighter, and 3 dogs.
The true game theory is fading Klein and playing 10% Cunningham. It goes to decision and Cunningham scores 30.
There is game theory, and then going to the casino from Vegas Vacation.
Well, I mean, if we're saying the game theory, dude, Klein's never. When is the last time he put up any kind of good score? So at some point, and he's fighting garbage opponents like before Landwehr. Like,
what did he score against Shane Young?
At some point, it's going to be viewed as lucky as shit. Like when Mackenzie Durden put up 160 points or whatever. It happens, but it's lucky as shit.
I think you're discounting quality competition too much here. AJ Cunningham is ass.
Yeah, listen.
That's what I can't get.
No one's playing this guy, so no one's really he's not gonna be heavily played. He's gonna be one of the low-owned guys. And he's facing a crap opponent. You never know.
I want to see how many Klein Umar. I want to see how many Ludovic Umar lineups I can make.
Javid Basharat, Bash Brothers, taking on Ayman Zahabi, probably the most boring fighter. This side of I don't really know. I don't know how to get worse than Eric. I don't know. Eric Anders, super boring. Ayman Zahabi, Javid Basharat -800 Monk. This one again does not scream high scoring. Over 2.5 rounds, -210. Ayman Zahabi known as having some of the best striking defense in the league. I'm sure the numbers are going to be crazy here, Monk.
Yeah, he doesn't allow anything. He doesn't score anything at all, less than 2 points a minute in his career, but he allows just right at 2 points a minute. He's allowing 1.5 at distance. He does allow a shitload of points inside the distance is the thing. 6.23 points per minute, and he controls less than half of the control time he's involved in. Ends up with less than 79 points a win, and he only allows 71 when he loses. So that's a long way of saying there are no points to be scored in Ayman Zahabi fights. Now, I've said that before, and then he comes out and smashes Orichi Lang in the first round. 3 fights ago, he smashed awful Draco Rodriguez in the first. So if he's fighting low-level competition, then there is a chance that I would play him. I would go against the grain, excuse me, and put more of him in the lineup. Because when he does get that first round finish again, twice in his last 3 fights, excuse me, got to cough it out there. he has put up good score, 103 about on average, but Basharat is not Arichi Lang, and Basharat is definitely not Draco Rodriguez. His numbers have only gotten better per win, 66, 83, and 98. And he was on his way to doing some work against Henry before he didn't kick him in the balls, according to the doctor and everyone. But yeah, I'm picking Basharat here. I don't think Zahabi's going to get that early finish, and if he doesn't, he does not score well, but he also doesn't give up any points, and Basharat has yet to find a finish in the UFC. 3 decisions. If this goes to decision, we could be looking at another 65, couldn't we? We could be looking at 80 or 90, but either way, that's not going to pay off. 9,500 for a guy that's never made the optimal lineup. So Basharat's the pick. Love him for cash. But yeah, that's I'd rather play Klein than Bosch. Well, it'd be close.
Please don't. There's you got to play both Klein and Umar above. I already forgot his name. I hate it so much. Yavid Basharat here, just because. Just do. By the way, we'll do it at the end of the show. I found a lineup with Umar and Klein that I like a lot, that you're going to see in some single entry stuff.
They score pretty similarly, Klein.
I'm definitely playing. I'm staring right at it. I'm definitely playing this. It's probably
pretty similarly, Klein and Basharat.
This is probably my primary.
Yeah, I think of all the fights, guys, this one is the most fadeable on both sides. Maybe I'm in as the punt if you want to like take your shot on a guy who's going to be out there poking away for 3 rounds, probably.
Exactly.
He's Caitlin Sermina of this fight, of this card.
It's not anything that I'm excited about, but Javid is not anything I'm excited about. I'm Zabi, for all his flaws of boringness. He's not a scrub. He's not a scrub in there. He's a good fighter. He's talented. He's well trained and all of that. So he's not a scrub. I want him to be. I want to say he's a scrub. I love saying they're a scrub. He's not a scrub. He's a good enough fighter. I think he's going to last, which means Javid super unlikely to get the 60-second kill that you need at his price to possibly pay off in this style of fight. So that's in a nutshell. Like, without the first round finish, Javid is just not doing it at his price point, and he's probably going to win the fight, but not score enough to matter. All right, next up we've got, listen, I don't think these guys are very good either. Christian Leroy Duncan, CLD, taking on Claudio Ribeiro.
You got to pull up the inside the distance here, Geek.
Let's pop it open. But, I mean, Duncan minus 305.
It's a big old number.
It's not the biggest number. Minus 260, under 2.5. So it's one of the better ones. Oh, there it is. Minus 375 to end inside the distance.
Yeah.
So we do have a high finish potential. And by the way, almost more importantly than that, this is another one of those fights. Like, you can't play the 9,700 and 96. You got to pick these $9K, $8,900 guys. And this one does feature at least a slightly tighter salary range than the other ones we've been covering up until now. And I kind of think you need, like, a lot of the lineups, like, I think Leroy Duncan is going to be super popular just because he falls in a salary point that you reach very frequently when you're making lineups on this card. You're going to see it when you're making lineups. So, Monk, my observation is that neither of these guys are scoring a lot of points until they get the finish.
I don't know. They both score well over 3 points a minute. Just overall. 3.2 for CLD and 3.42 for Claudio Ribeiro. Both scoring over 3.2 at distance.
No grappling is what
inside the distance. It's a little less. So I'm not really expecting that here, but that's what we want, man. I think this is a must-play fight, to be completely honest. And I'm picking CLD here. And like you said, 8,900 is a good spot. You're going to need somebody like that to balance things out. But when these guys win, 107.7 for Duncan, 110 when Claudio got his win. And both guys are winning. And, Leroy Duncan is winning by KO first and second round. Not great opponents, but Claudio Ribeiro is not fighting the greatest. I mean, Kopylov is a good opponent, but the other two, not so much. And he's been finished in the second round in both of his losses. And his one win against Joseph Holmes was a TKO finish win. So I think, one of these guys is getting slept. I think it's going to be Ribeiro. And I like Christian Leroy Duncan, who's made optimal out of 2 of those 3 fights to get the win here. But that said, I'm not counting out Ribeiro. I did say at the beginning of this breakdown that this is a must-play fight. So I'm playing both sides. I'm going to be heavier on CLD because I personally think he's going to get the win. Ribeiro gives up 3.4 points a minute over his UFC career. Not a good number there. But when both guys win, their average value is about 12.5. Very, very good number.
Sniper, any reason to think that Ribeiro is going to be the guy? He's that underdog?
He's fine. He's
Get it
totally.
going?
He's one of the ones to mix in. Skill wise, breaking down the fight, I'd have to take CLD here. I think his movement is better. Ribeiro's kickboxer, not kickboxer, Muay Thai style that I don't love in this matchup. Is if you can move, I think Duncan will be able to do that, stay out of range. I like the finish potential though. The problem is when Duncan's going to have to crash in to cover distance and he could get caught. So I think it's the GPP special fight. Do not touch it in cash games. I'm going to pick Duncan because I think he's a little better, but it's not a super strong take. I don't think either guy's got especially high upside. So yeah, probably Ribeiro will be one of my top 3, maybe 4 dogs in the card.
Yeah, listen, these guys aren't going to grapple, and that's a big part of this. You're not going to see much wrestling. If it happens, it's going to be minimal, right? Both guys are going to go in there and try to throw fist. That leads to one of 2 things. Sometimes that leads to sort of a lower scoring decision. But with these 2, more often than not, it's going to lead to one guy getting finished at some point along the way. I don't see it all in. I like the inside the distance prop. I more so like the salaries that you're getting on both guys. You're just forced to play like Ribeiro in a lot of lineups. Not Ribeiro, Duncan in a lot of lineups because that's what's left. We started with Petrino. You can't play normally when the way math works on DraftKings. You can't.
The way math works.
Well, the way math works on DraftKings with the salary, you generally can't play 2 guys that are in the high 9K range. That's not how DraftKings MMA DFS generally works. I'm sure you figured out a way to finagle 2 guys in there, but generally,
I do want to show that at the end. I think you're going to like it.
I'll check it out. But like generally, when you do that, you're playing so many turds that you have no chance. It's like the noobs that go into NBA and they click Giannis and they click, KD and they click Luka Doncic. And then like, man, I got to put like 5 3K guys in the lineup to make it work. Like that doesn't win anything. And that generally doesn't win DraftKings MMA contests either. Like that is not how you win. So you kind of stuck playing these types of guys. I think it's fine. I like this fight. I don't think either guy is very good. I think these guys both kind of suck. And yeah, they're big throwers, but like, put them in against somebody who's like top 20. They're both going to get crushed. So yeah, I'll favor Duncan as well. All right, we're coming to it, guys. This is my favorite fight on this card to target. I love the salaries. I love the volume. I like that the underdog is effectively now becoming a favorite. Almost. He's going to get there. I even bet him. Vinicius de Oliveira. Well, I feel like I skipped a fight, though. Taking on Bernardo Serpage. And are you seeing what I'm seeing? Hold on a second.
Yeah, you're good.
There's a fight missing from the screen here. We'll get to that one. But there is a missing fight on the fight odds screen, unless I'm losing my mind.
There's 11.
Yeah, you are losing your mind.
Mm-hmm.
We have this fight and
okay, no, all right, there it is. Al Sawadi, there he is on the last one. Okay, all right, sorry. Anyway, Vinicius -135. Bernardo Serpage +115. Line is moving. 105, 115 +100. It's moving.
I have to do a geek aside for this one before I forget. And you get too deep. Yeah,
is that how
apparently so? Doing tape study. What I learned this week is that everyone in Greece is named Nikos except this guy because I was doing it. He's like, he fought Nikos this and Nikos that and this Nikos and that Nikos. Fucking, I was losing my mind watching tape.
Sniper, this fight is minus 250 to inside the distance.
Love it. Love it.
These
Oliveira
are action fighters. I thought Monk was going to be shooting out of his chair for this one. All right. Vinicius putting up 9 strikes per minute in his UFC debut effort. Right. Vinicius.
Contender Series.
Against Madrigal in Contender Series. But more importantly, action fighters, low cost. You're getting effectively at Pick'em Fighter at 7,600 if you want to play Bernardo. And the fight has a high inside the distance prop. Everything says load them up. What do you say, Monk?
Yeah, we've mentioned a couple times, I mean, what we expect ownerships to be and whatnot. This is obviously going to be one of the highest owned fights. So if we're talking about game theory, this can't be 100% owned fight because everyone else is going to own it. And one of two things happens with two new guys who are full of finishes in their professional career when they fight each other first in the UFC. It either finishes because they're both extremely wild and it's a low-level fight, or it does the exact opposite and goes all three and the winner scores 70 or 80 points. We've seen it 100 times. I don't know who to, I'm picking Oliveira. I don't really know. I don't know much about these guys stats wise. I have 3 minutes of tape for Dana White Contender Series for Oliveira, and I don't have any for Sopaj, that I don't have to really dig for. So I'll personally do that in my off time, but I have no stats here as a stat guy other than the immense amount of finishes that they have. So I guess I'll play it. But like I said, we're talking about game theory and staying away from what everybody's going to do. Everyone is going to have this fight. So you're going to have to decide for yourself. Me personally, I'm going to hopefully try to get under to the field just for that reason alone. One of these guys is going to have to show me what he's got before I can feel comfortable rostering a ton of him at what are not cheap salaries. Like, yeah, for the favorite it is, but for the dog, this is one of the most expensive dogs on the card. Yeah, he could pay off, but I mean, we don't know that yet. So I'm going to play a little bit of a contrarian approach and not go crazy with this one, but I'm also not like fading it either. I'm just going to be average.
Monk, every other underdog is like plus 350, plus 500, and you got a guy who's plus 100.
Sure.
And
everybody's going to play
him when it comes to
everybody's going to play him.
The ownership's going to be like 45-35. You know how you do? You go 50-50, and I'm over on both guys.
No, see, I'd go 30 and 20, 35-25.
I get, and I've done that with other spots. For me, this isn't that spot. Fine strategy. Agree to disagree. I mean, it makes perfect sense. For me, I'm just going to go over on both guys, and I still am going to pick Vinicius de Oliveira, but Sopai is going to be up there. And actually, in that lineup, I was saying I like so much, Sopai is in it, just because odds value, finish potential of the fight overall, and I couldn't fight de Oliveira. And listen, he's a Contender Series guy. He was fighting somebody who's not good, threw a lot of strikes, fought a punching bag. Sopai is a little hard to gauge exactly where he is. I mean, he's fighting on in Fight Club Rush, but he does have some fights in Brave, which is a good promotion. So he's not fighting nobody. It's got a high action fight. You got 35 fights between them, I believe, and a total of 5 finishes. De Oliveira's seen the judges, I think, once, and Sopai's seen him 3 times. And in the last 2 fights, Sopai's got back-to-back first-round finishes, and he's got the last light was to Francesco Nuzzi, who's I think fighting in PFL now. He was in PFL last year at some point, like a good guy who I don't think has lost a fight. So they're gonna throw down. And it's going to be high variance, high volatility, big scores. You can go Monk's route. I'm not going to sit here and say it's the worst idea in the world. Just for me this week, not for me. I'm going to go the other direction. That's one of those when you're building your lineups, though, have a clear strategy for it. Don't just let an optimizer do what it's like. This is a fight. You need to decide what you're going to do. Are you all in or are you under?
I mean, the inside the distance prop minus 250. I get it. I think the odds makers are kind of guessing there a little bit too. These guys just both have finished their fights. They're 135. That's not a weight class that finishes as frequently as minus 250 would suggest they should. They're 135ers. Yeah, it's more of a, decision fight kind of weight class, I think. But do we know if either of these guys is a heavy grappler? I mean, De Oliveira didn't really do any of that in his contender series. Didn't need to. Sniper,
No,
did you see anything
0%.
here?
No, he didn't need to.
Yeah, I mean, is there any grappling that we can expect from either guy to make up for the non?
Yeah, and if there's not, what happens if this gets out of the first? The
Yeah,
winner's
no,
now scoring like 80 points.
It could turn into a disaster. Listen, it could turn into a disaster, especially on the favorite side, though. That's where De Oliveira comes in for me. Like playing the $8,600 guy, all right, but at the $7,600 level, you're kind of like, hey, if this guy wins, there's not that many punts that are likely to win on this card. So if he just gets the W, I think we're good, even if it's a 75 or an 85 type score. So I'm less concerned about the score for Sapaj, which is why I favor him in this fight in general, because he doesn't need to put up a monster score. He probably just needs to win. I don't know how many underdog winners we're going to get. So just a win at 7,600 is probably enough. You combine that with, like I said, you're still going to have to take a Schnell level 7K guy and hope to, if none of them win, you still need to take one of them. It's not like you can make a lineup without one of those guys. All right. Last up, Loic Reskabov taking on Abdul Karim Al-Salwadi.
I lied, by the way. I'm picking 2 underdogs.
There we go. Al-Salwadi minus 178. Loic Reskabov plus 153. Let's see here. Over 2.5 rounds, minus 160. So the odds makers are leaning towards a decision for this pairing. Loic is basically one of these stiff wrestlers, Russian-y, wherever he's from, Tajikistan, stiff wrestler, got kicked in the leg in his last fight, looked like shit. But before that, I think he got 11 takedowns in a fight, which was impressive. I don't know too much about Mr. Al-Salwadi, but he's favored. What do you say, Monk?
Oh yeah. This is my one dog that I'm picking is Rodzabov here. Esteban Ribovic is a pretty good prospect in my opinion, and he did get 11 takedowns landed on him, controlled him for 51% of the fight, and scored 120 in his debut. He then fought a very tough prospect in Mateusz Rumbeski. Got beat in the second round. Didn't do much at all offensively.
Leg kicks,
was
man.
not able to get any takedowns against Rumbeski as we were expecting. So that was kind of just a wrecking ball type situation. Here, I think we stepped down the competition from Mateusz back to a guy that, has only fought on the Dana White Contender Series. And let's be honest, he did not look great. He struck his opponent by 15 strikes in 15 minutes. Controlled only 13% of the fight on 1 takedown. Would have scored 70 points in that win for Dana White Contender Series. So yeah, he didn't allow many points, but he also didn't score much. So this is another show me what you got type fight. I'm going with Rodzabov here. He didn't look great like I said, against Mateusz, but he has fought in UFC cage for like 22.5 minutes. So give me that experience. I think it goes a long way. And in my opinion, he's got 2 pretty damn good opponents at lightweight. So yeah, give me Rodzabov. Hopefully he can land a takedown. If he can't, I'm going to be in for a long first fight of the night. That is for sure. But I love his price tag here. And I think he's got a lot of upside if he can get his game going.
Looks like he is, he's got Henry Hoof as his coach. So he is, training in a real gym. Not in Tajikistan. He's in America.
Look, I'm with Monk on this one. Rodzabov, I think we talk about recency bias on occasion, and the Rebecca fight, I get it. He didn't look good, but I think a bit of an overreaction here because Al-Salwadi didn't look that good. He got curb stomped by Rebecca. It totally did. He took the appropriate amount of time off. He's been off for 8 months. Think it's fine.
The leg was shot so early in that fight, man. A couple of kicks and it was done.
Yeah. If Al-Sawadi wins this fight, it's because he's made significant improvements. I actually think the line is kind of flat out wrong just based on what I've seen from these two guys. I think we're kind of the people picking Sawadi. I think you're assuming a little much and you're a little too far down on Loic. And maybe I'm wrong, but I just think the grappling upside, Al-Sawadi didn't look that good. Radzhabov is cheaper. It's got a big upside. I have to side with him here, especially against the guy making his UFC debut, who I don't think looked that good in the last fight. So this is the other dog I'm going to be taking straight up.
I like it. I'm with you guys. I'm going back to Loic here. I actually had a little exposure to him against Rebecca. That sucked. But you go back to him. But again, he understand who he is. He's just a stiff kind of grappler guy. Just very classic. Think who's that Swedish? And I can't remember his name right now, but that Swedish heavyweight that's like 5 foot. What? Yeah, Ilir Latifi. Like, yeah, nice memory. Yeah, he gives me Ilir Latifi vibes. Like this guy just has that sort of slow moving, but just a wrestler. He's got nothing else going on. But that might be enough to beat a low level Kareem Al-Sawadi character. So yeah, give me Loic here for one more sub 8K fighter that you really need in order to make lineups work this week. Yeah, let's wrap it up, guys. Let's talk some kill shots. Sniper, you want to bring back the 3-man here, and we'll talk some kill shots?
Sure. Well, actually, real quick, pull up the DraftKings build. We'll get out of here on kill shots. Tell me how crazy you think this. Actually, we can't give away whole lineups, so just put in Ludovic Klein. Okay, and then I'm gonna go Gaziev in the main event. This is my guy. And I'm gonna get some value here. I got Sopai and Loic to open the night. And punt when Matt Schnell.
Danger. You get Umar in there. Yeah, I mean, that's not bad. This is what I'm saying, though. You can make it work with Sopai. But before this fight was added, you needed 2 super turds in your lineup in order to even make anything.
Down there. I would probably say if you had to pick another one down there to make this work, I guess you would go. Ooh, you'd probably have to roll the dice on actually for a GPP build, Claudio Ribeiro in that super toss up fight against CLD.
Yeah, I think that one is the one. Or again, switching from Gaziev to Rozenstruik opens some stuff up. But let's see if you put in or Perez maybe. But yeah, if you put in Ribeiro, you can't get Umar in there, but you can get one of the other studs. So at that point, yeah, I don't see. But by the way, I don't see any reason not to load up on Petrino and Oliveira as well. So I think there are just other ways to build that'll be really interesting this week. What I'm curious about is if it's possible to make a lineup without having to play anybody below Sopaj. So let me see here.
That gets tough.
If you pull,
you get Sopaj.
You need Rozenstruik to make it work. With Rozenstruik in there, here we go. We like Duncan. 8,800.
Yeah.
No, then you have to play. You have to play Al-Sawadi if you want to play Gaziev, and then you can do it. But then you have to play Sawadi.
No, if I'm playing Al-Sawadi, I got to get rid of Loic.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. There's no way to do it. Right? Am I missing something here? Fuck. Yeah, it can't be done. Cannot be done, Monk. Monk, you're the
means now that's the
petition.
Which means that's now the number one probably lineup go-to. That when people are building their first lineups, they're like, can I get both of these guys in there? And that's the only lineup they're going to come up with.
Yeah. Well, that's the
so you can split it with all 60,000 of your friends.
The sniper version with the 2 studs in there is one thing, but there's no version of a lineup that you can make without taking, again, unless I'm missing something, a sub $7,600 fighter. So you have to choose one of Ribeiro, Pedro, Perez, Schnell, Pickett, Zahabi, Cunningham, and it gets worse and worse and worse. I think these are all losses, by the way. I think you're picking a loser.
Oh yeah, you have to.
Yeah, I think the winning. I think it was last week. The Nuts had a loser in it. Like it had a loss in it. Unless I'm
2 weeks ago.
It was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, where the Nuts had actually was
It's
Vince's.
because
Val Woodward 2 weeks
every
ago.
favorite won.
Yeah.
And if they give that fucking, you got me off. If they give the win to Neil over Machado Gary in that split decision, I win every GPP on the board, all of them.
Such a burn.
I was like, and he didn't deserve to win, but they started reading the split, and I was like, please God, let this happen.
Who's the turd here? Ribeiro to Almacan. Who scores the most? Let's make that our kill shot. This is what you need to decide.
That's got me thinking. I might even be switching mine on the fly here.
Like, Monk, who's going to score the most?
All right, so if we're thinking that, so we can get into kill shots. I was originally on Discord. I picked Tyson Pedro because of his round one upside. Now, is that actually going to happen? The chances very low. I think very highly of Vitor Petrino. So let's kind of go Ribeiro. I guess that's an okay one. Perez, I don't think he's going to win. Schnell, maybe. Pickett, no. Cunningham, no. Almacan, no. That leaves Ayman Zahabi to lose a decision, the most veteran player in this region. Ayman Zahabi to lose a decision and score 30 to 40 points, possibly. I know he's super low volumes. That's probably not going to happen.
That dude scores 30, 40 in a win.
Yeah, exactly. This is a real shit show for us. So I'll stick with my original. It's just round one upside. It's a real shit show for dogs this week. I would love to have picked Radzabov. That is the first guy I looked at. Unfortunately for our kill shots, that's $100 too expensive. And I stick to the rules on this show. I'm not giving out any favorites or any close lines. So yeah, I'll just stick with it. Fuck it. Tyson Pedro for the round one upside, even though I don't think it happens. If it does happen, it's going to score well and he's going to make optimal.
Listen, my answer is exactly the same, whether it's most points in a decision loss or the guy who can break the slate. It's Matt Schnell. Schnell, he's just going to move forward and throw. And if Ursig doesn't finish him, I think he's super live to a win. And even if to a finish, I should say, and a win, clearly. But I think if it goes 3 rounds, the volume that Matt Schnell, unless just Ursig cracks him, gets on top, and Schnell, I guess the caveat I can talk myself into and can admit, Schnell does in the past, he's played that dangerous, I'm going to try and triangle you bullshit off his back.
Yeah.
So he could try and do that, but I got to go with Schnell. I wanted to pick Loic, but he's too expensive. So
yeah. I mean, listen, the clear best underdog after Loic is Sopash. All right, the guy's plus 100 right now. I don't even think that's a fair kill shot. I think that's just the chalk on the slate. I'm not calling that the kill shot. But I actually, looking over this card, I'm actually just going to agree with you, Sniper. I think that the best underdog to play of this range, because you have to play one. If I'm picking, I like Ribeiro too, so I like that one, but I think he's a little bit more kill or be killed. So like with your Pedro thought process, Monk, that's my thought process on Ribeiro. I kind of think he could just get a knockout, and I love him for that reason, but it's more kill or be killed. I think Schnell is in there for 3 rounds of strike. Like, I think that fight's going to last. I think Schnell is that guy that gives us the best chance of 35 in a loss, or maybe he wins it. I don't know. But I think he gives us the most points in a decision loss out of this group. But, guys at home, you know what I'm saying? When you're making lineups, don't be scared of the fact that you have to play somebody 7,300 and below. There's no math that allows you to do it any different from what I can tell. You're going to have to play one of these guys. The deeper you dive here, the more of the expensive guys you want to play. That's what I was saying in the beginning. I don't know how much Umar or Ludovic or any of these guys I'm going to be able to play, because in order to get Umar in there, I kind of have to play 2 of those guys. And I definitely don't want to be doing that. So, or doing a whole lot of that. So, like I said, if you're using the optimizer and you're trying to force like 30, 40% Umar, understand what your lineups are going to look like. Understand the math of how a lineup has to come together. On this one, it's just not going to work. You're going to have to play fucking turds all over the place on this card. The reason being, there's simply no fighters at 8K There's no 8,100. Like, it's just missing some dollar amounts that normally we have to take in order to make the lineups work. So it's a really interesting card. I'm embracing it, guys. I'm embracing the weird.
It's the weird goes as far as that is at 130.
Yeah. Makes sense that it's 130. Who wants to stay up late
This
for
was
this?
the Saudi card. That's why it's so early. This is what we were supposed to bring to Saudi.
And Saudi Arabia was like, nah, no, we're good.
Now, do we understand why Saudi said no? I hope so.
Wait, what happened? It was supposed to be in Saudi Arabia, and now it's where?
Apex.
The warehouse.
Saudi said,
Apex?
"Fuck off. We're not taking this card for Saudi card."
The Saudis were insulted.
Yeah, basically. They say you better come better than that.
Prince Mohammed bin Saladin was like,
Yeah,
hell
take
no.
this shit
dude.
back to the Apex, boy.
You're not bringing this crap over here.
Yeah.
They
Well,
saw
that's why
Eric
it's too
Anders on
early.
the card. They saw Eric Anders on the card, and they're like, wait, what? What?
Well, that's why
I pay you
Umar's on
20
it. That's
million,
why
take this card away.
Matthias on it.
Jamie two-tap Pickett on this card? That guy hasn't won since 2016. What's going on here?
Yeah, it's weird. Weird.
Good stuff. All right, guys, that's going to do it for the kill shot. We got a big card coming up next week, so make sure you hit the like button, you're subscribed to the channel, all that good stuff. Let us know your thoughts on the card. What are you doing? Who's your underdog? Who's your kill shot? Who are you taking? As a matter of fact, who are you taking? 7,300 or below. Who's your guy? Pick the right name, win all the monies. Let us know in the comments. If you're not signed up at DFS Army, make sure to check out DFS Army. Get in the action. We got the cheat sheets for all the MMA cards. NASCAR is going strong right now. We crush the niche sports. We take it serious. A lot of other sites don't even have a lot of niche sports. You know, we have esports going nonstop, Monk. Did you know this?
Yeah, it's wild. You can I bet you could go 365 and not miss a DraftKings day.
Every
all of the stuff we have.
Every single day. Esports. I'm playing esports right now. League of Legends, Korea, what's up?
There you go.
Optimizer crushing it. I gotta get up at 3 a.m. tonight to see who the starting lineups are for Korean video game players. I'll stay up. I don't care. Hardcore. It's good to be back, guys. I missed you. I missed
Likewise,
the whole
good to
MMA
have you
crew, the Degenerates crew in the MMA channel. We can't let them out of the MMA channel, though. This is another thing that's really important. I need to police this. We can't have the MMA Degenerates just popping up in random NBA channels in the Discord. That's just bad news, guys.
I think you guys should go invade all those channels. I am your leader. Go invade.
If you're going to invade a channel, invade the NHL channel, the Hockey Goons, and the MMA Goons. That is just the ultimate. I want to see it.
Soccer hooligans, maybe.
Oh no, the soccer hooligans, all our British crew. They're all like, "What are you Americans doing here?"
We got a few Welshmen in the soccer room who will fuck you up.
No, you don't want to fuck with those guys. Yeah,
No.
yeah. But do you know British people get into fights like Welsh, UK people? They get into fights all the time. They love that shit. Like they just walk around looking for fights, and they're not even like we did that maybe when I was 18, 19. They're like a grown and doing that.
All that you think Patty Pimblett wouldn't suck balls?
They're full grown, just getting into fights. Just like, I'm like, dude, you're 40.
That old man ate that punch from McGregor. It didn't go down.
Yeah.
Fucker that was his third fight altercation this week.
That's what I'm saying. Like these guys are used to it. They're like, no. Conor McGregor. That old guy was like, dude, Conor McGregor, you're fucking 5'7". Get the fuck away from me. I'm 60. Like I've fought more times than you. They are a special breed out in UK. I love them. Love those guys. Anyway, all right. Good fight. Good card. Sniper, hit the end button. Jeez.
All right. I'm waiting for you to give the sign off and goodbye. Jesus Christ.
Take care, everybody.
Later, guys.